when I worked at a hotel in Cusco. I never imagined it would leave such a mark on my life. My name is Jay, and back in my early 20s, I was a young man who had just arrived in Arequipa, looking for a job to support my family. The small hotel where I ended up working was a colonial-style building, with thick stone walls and an atmosphere that wavered between cozy and unsettling. It was tucked away on a narrow STR. This hotel had been built on the remains of an old manor house. According to the senior staff, the place had a long history filled with tragedies, family disputes, and unexplained disappearances. But as Don Ignacio, the hotel manager, told me at the time, those were just. Don't pay attention to those tales, kid. They're just stories. The only thing that matters is doing your job and treating the guests well. However, I would soon find out that those store. My first few weeks at the hotel passed without any major incidents. My tasks included helping with luggage, cleaning common areas, and occasionally covering the night shift at reception. It was during one of those late-night shifts that I had my first encounter. It was around 2 in the morning, and the hotel was completely silent. I was going through the guest register when I heard footsteps coming from the second-floor hallway. Thinking a guest might need help, I went upstairs. But when I reached the corridor, the footsteps continued, this time coming from the staircase leading to the top floor, a place that had always been locked. I decided not to overthink it and returned to my desk. But that night was only the beginning. A few days later, Clara, one of the housekeepers, was the first to share something truly unsettling with me. One morning, while we were having breakfast in the staff's small kitchen, she suddenly announced she was quitting. "This place isn't normal, Julian," she said. "I've seen things that don't make sense." I urged her to tell me more. At first, she hesitated, but eventually, she relented. "A few weeks ago, I was cleaning a room on the 3rd floor, the only unoccupied room that night. While dusting the curtains, I felt someone standing behind me. When I turned around, I saw a man by the window. He was dressed in black, like an old Spanish nobleman. The strangest thing was, the moment I blinked, he was gone. I felt a chill run down my spine but tried to rationalize it. "Maybe it was just your imagination, Clara. You were tired." "It wasn't my imagination, Julian," she interrupted. "That man was there. And I'm not the only one who's seen things." One of the most mysterious parts of the hotel was the top floor, which was used as a storage attic. It had always been locked, and Don Ignacio insisted there was no reason to go up there. But rumors about the place were endless. Some employees claimed they had heard laughter and footsteps late at night. Others swore they had seen lights flickering through the small attic window. One night, curiosity got the better of me. I found the key in Don Ignacio's desk while he was away. Grabbing an old flashlight, I climbed the stairs and hesitated for a moment before unlocking the door. The attic was packed with boxes and furniture draped in dusty sheets. Just as Don Ignacio had said, it was nothing more than a storage space. Yet the air was heavy, thick with the scent of dampness. As I moved through the clutter, an icy shiver ran down my spine. Then I heard it, a whisper, right by my ear. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding, but there was no one there. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to sound brave. The only response was the creaking of the wooden floorboards. After that experience, I confronted Don Ignacio. I needed answers. "Look, Julian, I won't lie to you," he admitted. "This place has a history. Before it became a hotel, this house belonged to a wealthy family. There were deaths, disappearances, things that were never explained. When the building was turned into a hotel, some say the old owners never really left. Then why not just shut the place down?" I asked. "Because, despite everything, the hotel keeps running. Most guests don't notice a thing. And the ones who do, they rarely come back to complain. But it's your choice, Julian. I won't force you to stay." The following weeks were a whirlwind. The strange occurrences intensified. One night, as I slept, I woke up to the sensation of someone tugging at my blankets. I turned on the light instantly, but there was no one there. The next day, Clara quit without a word. I, too, began to feel like I couldn't stay there much longer. Even though I needed the job, the hotel's atmosphere was starting to take a toll on me, mentally and emotionally. The shadows, the whispers, and the fleeting figures that appeared and vanished in the windows. It was all becoming too much. After Clara left, the strange events became more frequent. The hallways seemed to come alive at night. Doors creaked as if someone was trying to open them from the outside. The lights flickered for no reason, and the mirrors reflected shadows that no one could identify. One of the most terrifying experiences happened when I was assigned to check the vacant rooms on the third floor. Don Ignacio insisted on keeping everything in order and making sure all the windows were locked, especially during the rainy season. As I entered room 302, one of the largest in the hotel, everything seemed normal at first, but as I moved to close the window, a deep chill spread through my body. I turned toward the mirror above the dresser, and what I saw made my blood run cold. A dark figure stood behind me. I spun around instantly, but there was nothing there. When I looked back at the mirror, the figure had disappeared. I rushed out of the room, slamming the door behind me. That night, I barely slept. Every sound, every shadow reminded me of that figure. I started to wonder if Clara had been right all along. Even Don Ignacio, who had always kept his composure, began to seem more tense, more withdrawn. One night, as I was going over the hotel's accounts in his office, he admitted something I'll never forget. "Julian, this place has always had a dark side. I've seen things I can't explain, but I don't want to talk about it. This job is my life, and if I start thinking too much about what happens here, I won't be able to keep going." That was the final piece of the puzzle for me. I knew I had to leave before the hotel consumed me completely. On my last night, I took one final walk through the building. Despite everything, I wanted to say goodbye. As I passed the third floor, a sharp coldness washed over me, making my skin prickle. I turned, and at the end of the hallway, I saw a shadow darting away. I didn't follow it. Instead, I returned to my room, packed my things, and waited for sunrise. The moment I stepped out of the hotel, I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. That place had been full of shadows and mysteries, but for a while, it had also been my home.